of, oh, I cleared out my email inbox. What did I actually get done? Other than this artificial sense of accomplishment that I don't know that I'm giving myself. Um, so,
Yeah,
however,
I'll
what
look
I
at
would say
mine.
is,
My inbox right now, my app, 14,604.
and I would, and I
And
would
my
say to
daughter
you,
that drives my daughter bananas. She's like, how do you just let that? I'm like, because I've had that email account since they were sending out AOL CDs
yep,
in 1996. And you know what? I look through the email every day
yep,
and I just go to the edit function and grab all the spam and get rid of it. And then things that are
yep,
important, I either answer or put on the to-do list. And I know that it would just be busy, not productive to
that's
go
it. Busy,
through my
exactly.
inbox. Could I make that number zero? Absolutely, I could. And it's it's
And
not,
you will
it's not
spend
bothering
a
me.
disproportionate amount of your life keeping it at zero. So it's like,
Right.
but so here's another good one. Um, so I love that idea of busy and productive, and I guess what I would say with the like that whole idea of make your bed. I think there's, particularly if you're doing this in the beginning, right? You're like, the idea is that McCraven has a great way of saying this. It's like, hey, it provides a means of momentum, right?
Right.
But at a certain point, it goes to Ed's point, like, okay, is that you clearly have that locked in now? Okay, at what point do you say, I don't need to keep that on my list anymore? That's automatic. That has shifted into something else. The other thing I would tell you, and this kind of goes back, I know we both like to talk about urgent, important things like that.
Right.
If you went through your inbox, if you think about you've done, was there ever an email that you missed that was so important that someone did not get a hold of you in another way? Right. And so, and for me, that answers, I can't think of one. And so at some point, and this was when I was CMO as well, I started to realize, now believe me, there was an OCD component. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just there was a component of me that was, I have to check my email. I have to check my email. I have to be on top of this. And I had to consciously say, what will happen if I let this go? And I will tell you what happened if I let it go. If it was important enough, the person found me. So, and this can be as simple as, for example, you saying, hey man, I sent you an email, right? So now you texted me and said, okay, hey Paul, be on the lookout for this email. Or it could be something like this. Hey Paul, I sent you this email a couple days ago. Right. So now I can go back and I can look through, oh yeah, okay, there it is. Cool. Right. And so the point is, almost, I can't think of a time, if something was important enough, someone would just leave it at the email level. I can't think of a time. And then so it becomes, okay, I have a search function in my email. Do I really have to spend that time doing that?
Yeah. No. And this sounds arrogant, and I frankly, I'm getting less and less
Say
concerned about what people think I sound like. Um, if more to follow for those of you watching, but it
it.
the answer to the question is, uh, there are times when that's happened, but in after doing the after action review of the entire incident, that there wasn't a single time that happened where we didn't discover it was a collaborative problem with the sender as well, right?
So tell me that. Explain that.
So when somebody, have I ever missed anything where someone didn't escalate it beyond email? Well, yeah, sometimes people would show up in my office door with their hair on fire. Did you see my email? No. And they had let it get to a point where it was a crisis, right? So we managed the crisis, and then afterwards, like, okay, how did this miscommunication happen?
Yep.
Well, I sent you an email. Okay, how'd that work out for you?
Well,
Well,
and then
you ignored it. I ignored no such thing. Here, it's in my spam folder because you sent it with no subject when it was so important
right.
that it was sent with no sub. Oh, I guess I could. Okay. So this was a together problem. I did not respond to your crisis effectively, but you didn't tell me effectively. So regardless of whose fault it is, don't worry about the blame game. You fix your thing. I'll fix my thing. And other than those incidents in the extreme, no, there's never been a time where it stopped at email and then somebody let the asteroid hit the Earth without telling anyone else because no one answered their email about it.
I did have another thought on this. I could imagine that some people just find it for whatever reason. It's like, hey, I feel good when I have a zero inbox. And so, that's fine. And that becomes part of your strategy. To me, the better option to avoid kind of what you were saying, particularly in an organizational context, is the Tim Ferriss approach, which I told you I did as a CMO, but letting people know I use email in this way. I do not consider email to be an appropriate use of urgent communication. Therefore, call me, text me, whatever it is, and then that way, hey, you have great communication, right? You're communicating to everybody. This is the way you use. They can disagree with you or not. That's on them after that. You know what I mean? But I just remember in being tethered to a phone, paranoid that I was going to miss an email from Colonel so-and-so because he loved to say, hey, Paul, come see me. Well, if I'm not on my email at the time he says, come see me, like I'm screwed.
Right.
And so now, again, at that time, I didn't have the, I guess, awareness or to be like, sir, call me, text me, do anything but email
right.
me.
And getting away from the, there's the neurophysiological, part of, a Bing, another like on social media, a dopamine hit. Okay, putting all that aside, what I found when you go first, right, and tell people things like, look, don't email me something like that. If you want to get hold of me, text me, call me, stop by. When you finally get through the initial shock of, wait, you're being different, and that person gets through their initial horror that, wait, somebody's trying to do something unexpected, what ends up happening is, if you're clear, what you've communicated to them is, look, what you're trying to tell me, I find important. So much so that I'm trying to tell you the best way for you to get to me with something important. I didn't say, screw your email, it doesn't matter. I said, sorry, I feel that what you were telling me is so vital, and that the way you were telling me wasn't going to get anywhere near my consciousness, that we're doing this different. What I found is that when you go first, you give people license, and you reassure them that what you're really telling them is, like, I care. I want to know what you were saying. And you just, it would be like somebody coming up and shouting at you in French. If you don't speak French, be like,
right.
You know what you're saying sounds really important, but I don't speak that language. So either we get a Google Translate app or you learn to speak English. I don't know what to tell you. We're going to work together. So you give people license that different is okay, or perhaps different's more effective. And it went back to something you hit me over the head with, like a cognitive frying pan 10 years ago, where would you rather be right or would you rather be effective?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I find is, now I'm doing this project and gathering a lot of insights from smart folks, and I'm connecting with them on LinkedIn, because that's probably the quickest means that I have all of them together in one place. And it's a good habit because we're trying to build business, and probably half of them or more, right? Send me a message back. Hey, dude, sorry I missed this. I never check this thing because I only have it in case of, needing to do job hunt or connect with somebody at a meeting. Send me an email to this box or here's my cell phone. Almost everybody has just said, look, I have LinkedIn for a function.
Yeah.
And I don't check it often enough. So if you're cool with me getting back to you in a week, then I'm cool only checking this once a week. And if not, do that. It's almost become a culture shift where everybody's like, oh, we have so many ways of communicating with each other, right? Too many.
This is going to be.
It used to be like when we were kids, right? Hey, the 716 area code, right? Okay, you had three choices to communicate with people. You called them, and if they weren't at their house, that was it. And later, answering machines came, so you could leave a message, so they would find it later. But it's one of those things. Didn't you get my message, dude?
Yeah.
That's asynchronous communication. Have expectations, please. You could write them a letter, and they would get it in 3 to 7 days. Or you could go find them and talk face to face. Those are the choices. Now, we have those choices. You have, I have 3 inboxes. I have a business one, I have a personal Gmail, my personal AOL. My other work email for the foundation I work for. And actually my hospitals have an email. Right. And that's been I have an out of office reply. I am a part-time employee that comes here once every other month at most. Please do not send anything to this inbox that you want me to actually see. So they've worked it out where, the practice manager gets CC'd on all the emails to the positions so that they don't even have to think about who they're sending it to. And the practice manager finds us when it's urgent. But I also have LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter direct message, or X, or whatever it calls them. Facebook. And some people they find you in one place, that's the default, that's where they connect with you.
Yeah.
And I have some friends that I played little league with in 2nd grade, kind of friends, and we're on all of these platforms and connected. So communication with them may be in any one or all of them, right? I found an interesting Facebook post. I'll send that through Facebook Messenger. Found an interesting Instagram meme that goes through Instagram, right? I found this thing on YouTube. It's probably easier to copy and paste it into a text and send it. And trying to manage all of those choices with the fact that the receiver has their own individual preferences and habits.
Yeah.
Right. We've improved communication. You can't see my air quotes because of the blur, but have we really? We've complicated communication, right? It's no easier to communicate than when we were kids and you could find someone, write them a letter, or make a phone call. Yeah. And it's quicker, right? You have the possibility of overcoming the tyranny of geography and the tyranny of time with your communications, because you could text someone. Even if they put on do not disturb, there's the option of, do you want to notify them anyway? Yeah. Right? And they probably have a device that has more computing power than what put Apollo 11 on the moon in their pocket, wherever they are. Ping. Okay. When I had missions in Africa, and I would get texts because being in Uganda did not stop, right? Yeah. Smartphones and cell signal from, hey, the kids need this thing signed for a permission slip. And when we did the account at the beginning of the year, we used your email as the login. So either send me the code or log in and click yes for the signature. It's like, oh, that's brilliant. It's wonderful. It's a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
It's also incredibly complicating if you have a misunderstanding about, this is my level of urgency and my preferred means of communication, and this is my receiver's hierarchy of urgencies and their preferred methods. And if they don't match, all right, welcome to Thunderdome.